Douglas Murray's confrontation with the Aljazeera journalist highlights a critical issue that often gets sidelined in mainstream media discussions: the reluctance to directly address the threat posed by radical Islamist ideologies.
Hey guys, welcome back again. So today we're going to be diving into Aljazeera host tries to counsel Douglas Murray about Islam, gets destroyed instead. Let's dive into the video. Stick around to the end. Let's go.
Right. Okay, let's bring in our London guest into the discussion at this point. Do you think this attack will underscore the message of the far right in Europe, at least, of the incompatibility of Islam and the West, or Western values?
That's a pretty atrocious question, if I may say so. We're about 24 hours away from 12 people being gunned down in a newspaper office in the centre of Paris, in a European city, because they offended, allegedly, Islamic blasphemy laws which France, Britain and other European countries do not have and do not believe in and do not follow. And for you to turn the question immediately, not on the people who've been massacred because of asserting their rights as European French citizens, but onto the alleged terrible discrimination of the French, is really quite despicable.
So I didn't ask you anything about discrimination of the French. Let me repeat the question.
You went straight on to the alleged backlash.
Let me ask you the question again in case you didn't understand it. Do you think this attack? We are in our news bulletins talking in more detail about the actual attack. What you were invited to discuss in this show are the implications of what might follow the attack. Will it underscore the message of those who say there is an incompatibility between Western values and Muslim values?
No, you want to paint the narrative which you think turns immediately, not from the attackers, but on the French society, which you would like to portray. I'm giving you my answer, so why don't you listen to it? Which you would like to portray as somehow anti-Muslim or anti-Islamic or anything like this. Let's start from the fact that 12 people were massacred because European citizens asserted their right, which they have every right to do, to draw Muhammad just as they have the right to draw any other historical figure, which they believe in or don't believe in. It doesn't matter. They have that right. I don't think at this stage whether, a discussion of the far right in France or anything like that is really the point. The point is people were killed and gunned down for doing their job as journalists and cartoonists in a free society.
Douglas Murray's confrontation with the Aljazeera journalist highlights a critical issue that often gets sidelined in mainstream media discussions: the reluctance to directly address the threat posed by radical Islamist ideologies. In the interview, Murray pointedly critiques the journalist for shifting the focus from the immediate problem of radical Islamic terrorism to the broader and less relevant issue of right-wing extremism. This kind of deflection is not only unhelpful, but also dangerously misleading. In our current media landscape, there is a pervasive fear of offending Muslim communities or being labeled as Islamophobic. This fear often leads to a diluted and indirect discussion of the real and present dangers posed by radical Islam. Murray rightly calls out this tendency, emphasizing that by not addressing the core issue head-on, we do a disservice to the victims of such attacks and fail to confront the ideology that fuels such violence. The crux of Murray's argument is that radical Islamist terrorism is a unique and significant threat that needs to be acknowledged and addressed directly. While right-wing extremism is indeed a concern, it is not the same as the global and organized threat posed by radical Islam. By conflating these issues, journalists and media outlets risk minimizing the specific dangers of Islamist extremism and hinder efforts to combat it effectively. Moreover, this kind of media deflection undermines public trust. When people see journalists avoiding the real issue or downplaying certain threats to avoid controversy, it erodes confidence in the media's ability to report honestly and fairly. Murray's insistence on addressing radical Islamic ideology directly is not about promoting bigotry, but about ensuring that we can have a truthful conversation about one of the most pressing security issues of our time.
Okay, let's try with our guest joining us from France. Perhaps she would like to address the question. Do you think there is a message coming out of this, of the incompatibility of Muslim and Western values? It seems our guest in London doesn't want to tackle that. Perhaps you would.
I think that's what the killers would like us to believe. They're French. They were brought up in this country, and they made this choice to become what they've become. They've killed a policeman, for example, who was also from an Algerian background like them. French citizen as well. So I think this is not the issue, and this should never be the issue. This is the issue they want us to address, and they want to make that statement that there is an incompatibility between two worlds. I think they are extremists, and I think we should not let other extremists on the other side who believe that as well, like our extremists here from the right wing or extreme right wing, who believe that there is an incompatibility between an Islamic world and a Western world. I think we should never allow this question to be put.
All right, thank you very much. Douglas in London. No doubt there will be a lot of thought as to how policy should proceed going forward. What do you think the policy should be? What are the practical policy lessons learned from this attack?
Well, there are no practical policy lessons learned. People are still mourning the dead and identifying bodies. The thing that is going to happen in the weeks and days ahead is that people are going to have a set of questions. The first will be obvious security questions, simply about how it was that two people were able to go into the office in Paris with Kalashnikovs and gun people down in cold blood. That will certainly be a part of it. There's a technical security discussion to be had. There's also a discussion about wider society and what its reaction should be and all that sort of thing. But really the most febrile and important discussion at the moment is the one that the Free Press is having across Europe, which is whether or not they will stand up and retain the right to do what we in Europe and free peoples have the right to do, which is to draw what we like. And the key message from this really can't be emphasized enough, because, you know, your guest in Doha is a cartoonist. He knows very well that he can't draw a cartoon of Mohammed there. Even if he wanted to, he wouldn't, because his life would be at great risk.
I wouldn't do that anyway,
sir.
No.
And one of the reasons, you wouldn't do it. Okay,
sir,
maybe it's not just because. Can I just finish my point?
Okay, finish your point. Then we'll give Khalid a chance.
If you are a Muslim, you may decide not to do that. However, in countries like Britain and France, most of us are not Muslims, and we do not believe in Muhammad as the founder of any faith that we follow. People are Christians, atheists, all sorts of things. You cannot expect, and this is a crucial thing, Muslims should not expect non-Muslims to abide by their own belief systems. You can yourself decide, you as a Muslim do not want to depict Muhammad, but the idea that is coming along in Europe at the moment is a growing idea that people who are not Muslims, who do not believe in Muhammad, who do not follow Islam, are also to be have to obey the rules of Islamic blasphemy. And in Europe at the moment, that is the big debate.
You've made that point, Douglas.
I completely agree with Douglas Murray on this one. It is unreasonable to expect non-Muslims to conform to Islamic standards of behavior, particularly regarding issues like the ridicule of religious figures or criticism of religious doctrines. Freedom of speech, including the right to criticize and satirize, is a fundamental right in Western democracies. This right is essential for the health of any free society because it allows for open debate and the questioning of ideas, which are crucial for progress and enlightenment. By insisting that non-Muslims refrain from any form of criticism or ridicule of Islam or the Prophet Muhammad, there is a risk of undermining these essential freedoms. Murray's point is that while mutual respect is important, it cannot come at the cost of sacrificing the fundamental freedoms that define Western civilization. In a pluralistic society, no single religious or ideological group can have a monopoly on what is considered acceptable discourse. Moreover, Murray suggests that this expectation of conformity to Islamic standards is not only unrealistic, but also counterproductive. It can lead to resentment and a sense of injustice among non-Muslims who feel their own rights are being curtailed. This tension can exacerbate divisions within society and hinder the integration and harmonious coexistence of different communities. Murray also touches on the broader issue of how society should handle offensive speech. In Western tradition, the response to offensive speech is not violence or censorship, but more speech. This means countering ideas with better ideas, engaging in debate, and using the power of persuasion rather than coercion. This approach not only preserves individual freedoms, but also fosters a more robust and resilient public discourse. It's about upholding the principles of free speech and ensuring that no group can impose its religious or ideological norms on the wider society. This is not about promoting disrespect or intolerance, but about defending the freedoms that allow diverse societies to thrive.
Yeah. Well, I feel like he has actually said everything that I think is on my mind to say. So I'm just gonna be use the word concluding on what he said. You know, first of all, I like to point out the fact that I've actually said something like this before in one of my videos about Douglas Murray. I said, when you go to Rome, act like a Roman. When you go to when you go to somebody's country, like me now, if I say I want to go to a Muslim country, believe me, I am going to abide by every single rule laid out to me. Do you understand? Because of what? I'm in your country, I'm in your nation. So I have to obey. Me not obeying, I'll be subject to any kind of what do you call it? Punishment that is deemed fit in your country. Like, okay, let's say now, if I'm in this country now, I steal, right? I don't know what the punishment of stealing, whether it is 6 months or 1 year, but I feel like the punishment depends on the gravity of the thing you stole, or whether someone was injured while the crime was being carried out. So when you come to the Western society, the same way we're going to be respecting your rules, I feel like if you go to another person's country or state, you should respect their rules. That is my um, honest conclusion on this. Yes, because the honest truth is, like I said, right? Like I said, I feel like there are three types of Muslim, and which one of Douglas' video actually pointed out that there are actually three types. Sorry, I thought before it was two types, but he pointed out there were three types, right? See, I have actually had conversation with my Muslim friends. Do you understand? And most of them don't actually act the way I normally see on the news that they talk about, like this, that, being extremist, being this, being that. Like, they don't talk like that. They don't act like that. So sometimes when I see this, I'm kind of like baffled. Like, is it that they are born differently, or is it the mentality you are being groomed with, or the mentality you are being trained with? Because I get confused in that sector every single time I look at my friend. I'm like, you guys are Muslims, right? They're like, yes. Is this normal? Is this supposed to be normal? Do you understand? There are some certain things we are not supposed to expect to be normal. Do you understand? There should be freedom to actually talk and be truthful to each other, be transparent to each other. Not the fact that I am going to be speaking my mind, and then at the end of the day, I'm now feeling like, oh, um, I'm breaking your rules. But then we forgot that I have my own rules. We have our own rules, our own laws that govern us. Your laws govern you, and our law governs us. And then again, there's what we call the government law. Do you understand? The government law. Now, when religious law governs those that believe in it. Do you understand? Religious law should govern those that believe in it. But the government law, which is a nation's law, governs everyone inside of it. You can't commit. Let's say now I'm a U.S. citizen now, and I go and commit crime in which country will I even call self? And I go and commit crime in Russia. Do you understand? And I go and commit crime in Russia, and I'll be like, okay, because I'm a U.S. citizen, the laws of Russia does not apply to me, or the laws of Ukraine does not apply to me, or the laws of, I don't even know. I think these are the only countries I think are coming off the top of my head. I can't go there and commit crime and be like, because I'm a U.S. citizen, the law does not apply to me. Do you understand? If once I enter Russia, I have to believe that every single rule or law that governs Russia governs me as well. That is my belief. Do you understand? And then Russia cannot now if I'm not in Russia and I commit a crime, Russia cannot come and be like, oh, why did I commit this crime? Do you understand? That they will have to punish me for committing this crime in another country. The only way that they will be responsible of punishing me for that crime is if there is a way that the crime was actually linking me to that country. I don't know if I'm supposed to be mentioning any country right now, but I'm not mentioning any country to be bad here. I'm just bringing out an example right now. Do you understand what I mean? So there's what we call religious law. Now, religious law are meant to govern those who practice and believe in that religion. If you're a Muslim, your law should govern you and guide you as a Muslim you are. If you're a Christian, your religious law, which is your Christian law, should guide you and govern you as you want, as you believe in it. If you are a Jew, the same thing applies to you. If you practice Hindu, the same thing applies to you. If you're an atheist, is there any law that applies to atheists? I don't really know, but I'll check that out though. Sorry for me laughing. It's not. I just really thought about it. And like, I don't even know if there's any law that governs atheists. Because atheists is the fact that you don't believe. I think they believe in science, and they don't believe in any um, supernatural being and all that stuff. Now, then there is what we call the government law. The government law of a nation. Do you understand? Sometimes I don't know, sometimes the way we act, sometimes it offends me. For me, we human beings, it offends me. Do you understand? What do I mean by that? Right now, you are saying that our religious law should be obeyed. Meanwhile, we are disobeying the government law. Yes. Because if you feel like if somebody has committed a crime, you are meant to go and hand them over to the what? The law enforcement, not take law into your hands. So they say respect is reciprocal, which means for me to give you respect, you need to also give me my own respect. And equal respect given. Do you understand? An equal respect given in that aspect. Not the fact that I'll be giving you respect, then you'll be disrespecting me. It won't work. There's no unison, there is no agreement. It won't work. It will fail. It will fail drastically. So if you say you want your religious law to be obeyed, you should also obey the government law. If you feel like, okay, somebody disrespected your religion, I as a Christian, if I feel like somebody disrespected my religion, what am I supposed to do? And I feel like there's a law, okay, I'll go and check the government law that supports me persecuting someone that actually disobeyed my religion. I take the person to court. And if the court deems it that, oh, this person really did something bad, or did something defamative, or did something discriminative, or did something wrong, they will punish the person by the law of the nation. But then, if the person is now in your, let's say, I believe there are Christian nation. I don't even know if there is Christian nation and there is Muslim nation and all those things. Now, if that person is in your, let's say now the person is in a Christian nation and you commit a crime, that is when you will not be like, okay, maybe because the law of the nation is also governed by the religion. That is when you decide to take matters into your hands, basically because the law allows you to do so. So this case of obeying laws, obeying rules, respecting this person is a quid pro quo. Let's stop trying to jump the fence and claim I am right. You know, that is my own sincerest opinion in this. At the end of the day, this is what are we talking about? At the end of the day, we're talking about human life. Because I just heard what you said. You said about 12 people were actually, on gunpoint, I think were killed or something like that, or unalived. I didn't remember whether you said they were unalived or something like that happened in similar terms. Why? Because they broke. I don't really know the extent of the crime of what they committed or the nature of the conviction they had that led to such that led to such cruel ending. Do you understand? I don't know the extent, so I'm gonna actually go and check on what conversation was actually had on that, because I feel like this world could do better. Honestly, for me, let's keep religion aside. This world could do better. We could do better loving ourselves. We could do better moving in harmonization. We could do better. We could actually do better. If you sit down and analyze it, we can do what? Better. We are created to be better. We are made to be better. So let's forget about all these other things and just focus on being the best version of ourselves. At the end of the day, it's not like we're carrying this world and going to the next one. No, we're gonna leave this world aside and go to the next one. So let's stop acting like this world. We're going to pack it on our head, pack it on our shoulder, and move to the next one. Please, honestly, I feel there's no justification for anything that could cost a human life. I don't support. There is no justification for me in my book. Yes, no matter what the person did, do you understand? I don't feel it is justifiable enough to say, okay, I want to go and take this person's life. No. If the law feels like this person's crime is too much and they feel like, hey, okay, it's not this time now, we want to take your life, fine and good. Fine and good, because they have checked it, they have weighed his crime, and they have decided his punishment. He was punished according to the law that was set to govern us in order for us not to commit those crimes. So let's stop confusing our religious law as government law. Because if we look at it in real sense, we are also breaking government law. How many times have the government persecuted us to the full extent of the law? That is a question we should all take home. And thank you guys for watching this part of the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on this YouTube channel. Let us let love rule in this world. Let the peace reign in this world. Forget about the fighting, forget about the argument and everything. Let love lead. Feel free to use our feeling to make priority requests on the next video like to watch on our YouTube channel. Thank you guys for sticking around, and see you on my next update. For now, remain blessed and bye.